Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Alpha Coach podcast. Now, today's guest isn't just another fitness coach, but she is, I would say, like a quiet storm. She's a very gentle, soft-spoken person, and the kind of person that if you train with, you'll probably, sort of wonder that how do you get through your first push-up? How did you get through that entire workout? And you'll, leave wondering how the hell you even lived without strength training all this while. So I welcome Sudeeksha Mukherjee. Now she's a Bangalore-based fitness and nutrition coach. She's certified from INFS. She's also a silver medalist at the ICN Natural Bodybuilding Competition, which stands for I Compete Naturally. And a fun fact is she is also one of the earliest and I would say one of the best students that we've had at Alpha Coach Elite. But before all that, Sudeeksha was climbing the corporate ladder with very large global firms like Deloitte and Genpact until I would say life hit pause and sort of hard. There was a point where she actually fainted on the street in Calcutta. And then her father's doctor also gave, I would say, a brutally honest line during his cancer diagnosis. And all of this led to her thinking, how do I make fitness a part of my lifestyle? And that how can fitness not just be, what a lot of people believe, which is a summer thing or a vacation thing or a wedding thing or whatever, right? And how can you actually make it part of your life? Right. And that moment was what sparked what she calls her project Fitness for Life, right? Which was really a deep dive into initially healing her own body, fixing her own health, and then studying the science behind it, and eventually taking the call to help others do the same. Right? It's a huge shift from what she was previously doing to what she does now. And now, 3 years later, she's left all those boardrooms behind. She's built a fantastic coaching practice rooted in sustainability, strength, and a lot of self belief, especially for women who've never touched a dumbbell but are now ready to sort of take a new step, rewrite their own story, and just figure out their own health, right? When I asked her what a coaching style would be, and she said it's very clear, it's to build strength first. We're not going to focus on just aesthetics, but we're going to build strength first. We're going to understand what food actually does for you, and then lose the weight that no longer serves you, right? The stuff that you need to actually lose, and physically and mentally just become a stronger person. Now, when she's not lifting, or coaching and or calling out bodybuilding myths on her Instagram, what she does is that she started a brand new bold series called the Unfiltered Prep, where she sort of talks about breaking the myths about women having bulky bodies and all of it being just an extreme thing, but also saying that what, it's not just about looking good up on stage, but actually prepping for a better lifestyle, having a lot of discipline, having the grit and the consistency that actually makes you excel in life. She also loves spending a lot of time in a garden, hands, I would say, deep in the soil. She loves the gardening. She loves listening to vintage Hindi songs playing in the background. And probably, even sneaking in a few minutes to hug every dog that she can find in her area, right? She's an absolute dog lover. And what she best at, when I asked her, she says, I think the best thing that she does is that, or her superpower, as I call it, is convincing people not to quit, right? Don't quit on that last rep. Don't quit on your goals. Don't quit on yourselves. And that's when it gets from the small p or the small p of purpose to the bigger P, where what, if you give up when it matters, but which is that last rep, you eventually start to realize that you start giving up on your goals, which is slightly bigger, and eventually on yourself. So I think that's a huge value add for people if somebody like that is in your life. So I think I would definitely love Coach Sudhi to be in our corner. And I would love for you guys to hear about her journey, her mission, and her voice that's really lifting and helping people lift a lot more than weights, but also their quality of life. I hope that does justice to you, Sudeeksha. So, guys, please welcome to the show Coach Sudeeksha Mukherjee from Bangalore.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for such an elaborate introduction. Like you've touched every bit, whatever I've ever told you.
So let's start at the beginning, right? Like, what was your early life about? What initially drew you to the corporate world, and what eventually made you pivot over to considering a career in fitness?
Well, so corporate world was like a very conventional thing in the environment that I was living in to do. It was like there's nothing else that I would be doing, something like that, because the family, friends, those times, it was like, okay, you get your education, you choose a stream. And back then it was all the more specific: science, arts, commerce. You pick a stream and then you further think that what you want to pick up, and it would be something to do with a corporate, an office job or something. So it was that conventional for me. But I would really say and probably confess that in the back of my mind, I always thought that there'll be something else also that I'll do. It was not that something else will become a part of my life way it is today, or it will be my profession. So I was always very, intrigued or very excited looking at fit people. In fact,
Yeah.
when this movie, we all, I think, will remember this movie Terminator had come in, and we had the character of Linda Hamilton. I don't know why I was so amazed with that perfectly sculpted body. I did not know they are muscles also. And I think most people don't know what muscles are. So that used to excite me so much that, oh God, she looks so strong. Is it even possible? And everybody around was like, it's too, you know how strong she is, you know what she does. I said, yeah, I mean, some fancy stuff must be going on. It's just not
Yeah.
possible in my life. But all these things were running. Like I would look forward to even a 30 minutes PT class in the school. And if it was like, cancelled for extra studies before exam, I would be very disappointed. So yeah, there was some side of it, but it did not know that, what to express around it, or if anything can happen, or I want to play a sport. There was nothing like that. Just got my higher education, got into the corporate field, and the way you want to gradually build your career, you are not looking or taking care of health. That has, and even now, is not the primary thing. Like taking care of health is a part of your daily regime, is not a thing, and so it was not there in the family as well. But I think what happened is usual stuff, like in late 20s, which I did not see people around having health concerns, not just putting on weight. That starts happening later, and that's just one, I would say, one part of the entire puzzle. Putting on weight, I think it's an outcome. But I started having like borderline thyroid issues. I was anemic, and as you just said in the introduction, I fainted. It was due to really low BP and hemoglobin levels that day. It was really embarrassing, and again, I did not have the right direction. So I thought, like, let's just join a gym. I should do something. It was so embarrassing. And what if my parents say that, come back, you don't have to do all this job and all. So that was the first step that happened. Then I thought that, okay, going to a gym does fit into your routine. Though I was going to the gym and doing random stuff, would lift some baby dumbbells because I had that thing that, okay, lifting weights will make me look manly, and I did not know the importance of muscles. They are the true, the reason for strength and everything. So it started that way. But I realized that I was probably looking lean, because in your late 20s, lifting weights and all immediately starts showing on your body. But my markers
Boy,
were not
tell me.
changing. Okay. There
Right.
were like blood donation camps at office, and they said, like, no, you are anemic, you can just go back. So I have been like, felt like that conscious hit me always. Not that anybody's on purpose telling me something, but I didn't like that thing that was happening. And taking leaves, then somebody telling that, oh, you're running marathons, still you keep falling sick. So just running marathon, just getting on a diet, it was not kind of helping. But who realizes? Years passed by, and there was a moment when my father was like, very last, at a last stage, he was diagnosed of cancer. During that treatment, okay, whatever was happening, the emotional side and everything, I had to really speak with my doctor and ask that, what are the chances? Like, what do we look forward to? And I would say we were in very good hands, and he was practically explaining me that, all of this really depends the fighting capacity. I'm not saying being out of it or getting better or like standing absolutely fit and fine, but the capability to fight depends on the type of lifestyle you've led. And that made me feel that, okay, even I don't know what that lifestyle is. Why not like really start finding things? So that's when I first thought, okay, okay, first let me set an example. And I understood that nutrition fuels you. I took help of a coach. I understood lifting weights with proper strategy can really make a lot of difference. You'll have to give it time, say 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and the start could be really shabby. It's not perfect. You feel like crying that, okay, you're crying. I'm trying to fight a pain everybody is saying, but I'm crying out of the pain of the soreness. So you really feel like giving up because you've not done all of that. Then I realized that why not study this further? Because, after 12 weeks, when I saw my blood markers improving, and after I think 6 months, that was the first time in my life I donated blood. So
Wow.
that made me feel that okay, finally somebody did not reject me. They're like, okay, all is fine. And I had that some barley tea or some orange they gave me, and I was again back sitting at work. Then I'm working, but in my mind I'm thinking that this has never happened before. I better need to do something. So that's when I thought that let's study, and the education happened, the certification happened, and that's how it started rolling. So yes, I did not just quit. I was juggling in between, training a lot of people for free in the family, among friends. And when you see them transforming it, I felt that okay, I totally value my corporate experience. It's taught me a lot, but this made me feel very purposeful. So yeah, that's how it happened.
Very cool, very cool. I think the thing that you mentioned about the fact that you had to actually go through certain things to find your own win,
Yeah.
and versus, I think everybody has a different kind of trigger which causes a different kind of change as to what they do, and then they find themselves on another path that they didn't realize could even be possible 2 years back, right? I mean, I don't think you would have imagined this 2 years before versus 2 years later, and suddenly you're on a different path completely. And from where you were, when did you quit your corporate job? How many years back was this?
It was 20.
So in 5 years, right? So that time to now, and your life is so completely different,
Yeah.
right? Complete right now. Amazing. Perfect. So what? So now that you're a fitness coach and you're running your brand called Jumpstart with Sudhi, who are your typical clients, right? Do you have sort of a specialization or a niche or whatever? Do you have something like that? And what do you help them generally do? Like, what do you help them achieve?
So, I mostly coach working women and more into working mothers. And I realized this over a period of time that, well, training could be similar and different into intensity for different people. But women are still, I'm not saying that, getting into this conversation that there's no support and all, but they still are juggling with between a lot of things actually. So sometimes they don't get the courage to even think that okay, I have the time to do anything for myself. So, and since I was into a corporate setup, a woman myself, and I knew that so many things we have to manage. And what made me look forward to it was the education. I did not have the knowledge. I had the hunger to do it, but I had no knowledge, right? So there are a lot of women out there, and I started coaching them who are managing maybe their business or their corporate or any kind of work, but they need to do the right thing. So, what I coach them is mostly with people come to me for weight loss, but as you said, that I really help them build strength, and it begins with lifting weight at home or at gym. You don't need a very complicated or a complex or a long duration workout at a gym only. It can just start out at home. So a lifting weightlifting routine which is backed with the right combination of diet, right? So start looking at food as fuel for you and understanding what all foods are, because it happens when I assign a diet chart, they're like, I'm eating the same foods. I said, yes, but now you'll have to make it as a routine. So, mostly what happens, people skip certain food sources. So, they are very surprised to see a rice or a lentil or dairy products in their chart. They're like, I'm eating all of this, but probably they're eating any of the dairy product once a week. So, of course, my plan is around lifting weights to help you build strength, muscle, joint strength, and everything. And it has to be backed with the right balance of nutrition, which, depending upon a fat loss or a muscle building goal or building strength goal, is defined in terms of calories and macronutrients. So I also educate them, that what you are eating and how much and what you need to eat around that.
But see, a lot of people come with that mindset, or like you said, I want to lose weight.
Yeah.
So, and then there are also people who like come for very, very short term goals that I need to lose 4 kgs, I need to lose 6 kgs, then I'll be good. How do you reshape their minds or their mindset or the mentality to say, you know what, listen, you're not in it for the next 3 months. And without sounding salesy, because then they shouldn't feel like, oh my God, she just wants me to be with her for 2 years, right? How do you actually reshape that by telling them, you know what, let's do the non-glamorous things like, oh, you need to be consistent, you need to eat better foods, you need to go to the gym so many days in the week, and you need to do this, versus saying, hey, I'm going to give you some high intensity workouts, I'm going to give you this diet, and you're going to be looking better in like 3 weeks. How do you make that shift mentally such that they can become, then they listen to you and work more towards sustainable health habits? Like, how, what are the strategies that you use?
Yeah. That's a very interesting question, Ketan, because the understanding towards fitness is very flawed. So when somebody comes first time into the call, the idea is that I'll want to do it for 12 weeks and then manage it on my own. I just need to lose a little bit. And most of it happens like, I think I know everything. I'm eating healthy. So number one is, I will not give them any fancy or very false promises that you will for sure lose this amount of weight in so much of time. I rather tell them that, this is how you can start introducing foods to feel energetic in the first 2 weeks. If you feel that better, then might be that you want to take it to the next level. So it is a lot to do with the mindset that you build, because unless you have the mindset towards it, you will not want to work for it for a longer period of time. So, to give that authority into their own minds, that, they feel that, okay, I have that authority to understand and to drive myself towards doing this. And the best way to do is to give them a very simple plan. So, for example, somebody is not doing any kind of workout, and you give them a very difficult workout or a long duration workout, it gets very difficult for them to even start, and the entire purpose of a jump start gets diluted. Rather, giving them a very short plan for 35 minutes, at least 3 to 4 days in a week, and helping them understand, this is a checklist. So imagine this point in your list did not exist at all, and you are putting a tick to it at the end of the week. So you are achieving something when you have the sense of achievement of taking actions. The actions will gradually start translating into outcome. Generally they do it for 2 weeks, and when some of them send videos also, because and on in an online setup you don't understand how people are training and all.
Correct, correct.
They start realizing there is so much to learn about movement, because if you're guiding them about the right technique or posture or how to take the right stance or grip, then they find the journey very educative. I think doing that in the first 2 weeks, where they feel that, okay, it's not just achieving one outcome. I have seen that in the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I have gained a lot in terms of understanding things and learning things that I never knew existed, or even unlearning a lot of things. So I think that makes a difference. And even when it comes to a diet plan, keeping it to a whole foods source kind of a meal, very simple means, regular meals, and kind of merging it with their regular eating really makes it a little simple. Because the idea is, unless they feel that it's simple for them, they'll not want to grow. Because after that, one step at a time, we keep adding, and then they don't realize that, okay, I have come a long way.
I think one thing really works, right? So I've realized this for absolute newbies who are literally never stepped into the gym, never thought about dieting. You can, if you start eating the right kinds of foods, you can actually increase the volume of your food and hit far lower calories, because you're just eating a lot of stuff with fiber, a lot of stuff with a lot of starchy carbs, that really make you full, a lot of heavy protein,
Yes.
versus eating, junk, which people tend to snack on or eat, like, processed foods and stuff, which really make you, give you that constant, hunger pangs even after
Yes.
you finished eating, right? Which tends to make you binge and put on weight. Similar with the gym, if you start them off with absolute basic, right? If you think the person's never squatted in his life, you give him body weight, what do you call them? Bench squats, right?
Yes.
Literally don't even have to go all the way down, just sit and get up like you're sitting on a chair. If you can't obviously do pull-ups, you give them, just some sort of a bench press, with light, very light dumbbells. Then you can graduate to some box push-ups and so on and so forth, and even those will start change will start impacting them physically. They'll start feeling fuller. They might start losing weight. They will feel a little leaner in the next 2 weeks. They will get that muscle soreness, which they, think that, oh, that's normal if you go to the gym. And then, like you rightly said, if you keep adding a small 1-2% every week, suddenly this can really result in big changes over time.
Yes,
So
literally, when they feel that change, I have seen people who are telling things, I've got to hear within 4 weeks or 5 weeks that, this XYZ was the distance I never used to think that I can walk, but now with my backpack, I can just walk and take a rig from there. Or things like, I would always need support to get up from the chair. Like these are people who are in their 30s. So they say that
wow.
I don't realize that I'm like walking with so much of agility already. So, and that is with exactly the simple things. You start with very simple, maximum 4 to 5 proper movements on
Yeah.
those 3 days. And then just add on to those. People are also there who have an elaborate setup at home because they start with a 2.5 kilo dumbbell. They end up having 5, 7, then a bench. And then they said, Ki, now there's no space. I should go to the
Go
gym.
to a gym, yeah.
Yeah. So it's also a teamwork, Ketan, I would say, because that hunger from the other side also matters.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. Client has to want the results to begin with, right? I mean, you can't only keep doing it one way and trying to shove good food down the throat and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
but it is important to make them believe.
yeah,
That belief is there, that because since they have never done it, it's kind of assumed that it's not going to happen, but that's not the truth. So that
yeah.
belief happens by, I think, adding that step by step, very small steps.
Fantastic, fantastic. So now you help women specifically, and working women that you mentioned who pretty much never started off. So you are the person who literally gives them the first entry into the gym, the first ever small wins, etc., etc. Right? How do you actually reach out to these people? Like, what has been your strategy to find the right set of clients? How do you actually do your marketing? How do you grow? See, there are lots of coaches who listen to the podcast, right, and want to understand. I've always worked in a gym, so I got clients from there, or I got a few referrals, or maybe I tried to do some ads that I boosted, etc. Right? What has been your strategy in general to say, okay, how do you get your clients from where, and are there any active systems that you sort of put into place?
Yeah. I won't say there's one activity that helps you nail it. There are a couple of things, but it all comes under a big term called networking, and how much you go and go out there and talk to people. I know it sounds like a very big term. So, do I mean that you go start meeting people all the time? No, not there. Right now, an online model, definitely your social media handle is one platform. But again, that's just one part of the entire thing. Whatever content I post, or whenever there are any stories, so try to talk to people who are appreciating it or engaging. Like engagement could be likes, comments. So maybe it can even be like people who are engaging are already into fitness, but when they engage and you keep talking to them, there might be people in their network who are interested. So this conversation is something that I engage myself into almost every day, because day 1, day 2, day 3, probably nothing, probably no, let me say nothing happens, but then you start showing up at a lot of places, and doing that for a very long period of time, I start getting queries from the social media platform. That is just one. And as I said, when I was just training for free, it was my family, my friends, ex colleagues. So when we work with them, they are also people who can amplify about your work. And when we are doing some good work, it's always a great thing to take feedback or say that, okay, I'm expanding my work. So just wanted to let you know. So, not always saying that, hi, I'm a fitness coach and I coach people, and please send to me if there is anybody. It does not work like that. Why will just, it's like I have started a gardening business. I sell pots. So this is my card, and you can buy really good pots which look organic and all that. No, it doesn't work like that. So they need to see work. So showing work would be, of course, through your own services, and also having some groups like if there's a WhatsApp group or any internal community, post further educative content. A lot of content, a lot of work needs to go out. Just to, you should not think it like I'm doing it for free, my time is going, but how it gradually starts helping you build that network, that system, it takes time. So, and of course, get into specificity, we do track things like how I've learned into from coaching as well, that when you track, when you see that okay, these are the people, taking details and again going back and connecting with them, so that way it really helps bringing in a lot of people. So it's not again an overnight thing, just like fitness is, but
Yeah.
it's
I think
certainly
I
work.
think couple of so one is of course, like that meme which talks about two people who are, just constantly there's the two people. One is a guy who's planted something, sees the carrots grow immediately and picks it out and says great. And the other guy sees no carrots growing constantly, but under the ground, the carrots actually growing so big that it's actually a monstrous one that he will
Yes.
at someday, right, this thing. So I think if you like they say that you really can't see, or you shouldn't only be waiting to see the end results before you start to take action,
Yeah.
but you can only see the next step, and the next, and what your only job is to start taking the next step, right? And
Right.
eventually you will be there, because there will be many people, many books, many self-help, many people who give gyan on Instagram will say, oh, there are 10 steps to making $1 million, 10 steps to getting to 7 figures, or whatever, 8 figures, whatever that they claim. But if there were only 10 steps, and those 10 steps were for everyone, then I don't think किसी को problem ही होता. Like everybody would
Absolutely.
have been a successful coach, and everybody would have
Absolutely.
been have had a six pack, and been in the peak of the fitness, or pink of health, or whatever, right? I think you just have to discover your own journey, keep taking that step and doing that. And the other important thing that he sort of said was that you need to be living and breathing what you do, right?
Yeah.
You're always like sort of switched on, whether you're on social media, whether you're meeting people in person, whether you're texting and people ask you what you're doing, and you're crystal clear about what you do, and
Right.
you are crystal clear about being able to tell them literally in one statement, this is what I do. I mean, it's simple, like, right? And that's about it. And if that's something that becomes literally your calling card, or
Yeah.
literally something that Sudiksha is known for, suddenly there's no confusion when somebody actually feels the need. Like you said, their network might be interested, and suddenly if somebody talks about fitness for women who are working, who are beginners, and they say, what, Sudiksha is literally the expert. That's what she does.
Yeah.
And suddenly you get a referral, and you've never actually spoken to this person with that intention,
Yes.
but you've got this because you put in that work without expecting something at that point of time. So
And
that
also, it's a very consistent activity. I mean, and it has happened with me. It was not that I had that absolutely perfect understanding from beginning. When things did not work out, I was like, it's not happening. Why should I waste my effort? But that actually keeps you from becoming more visible. So to
uh,
keep your visibility, because we have to understand that if to become if we are looking at a very famous, let's say, fitness coach, the person has become famous, you have to actually go and see their number of years of struggle, how many years it has taken. So why will somebody just suddenly know that okay, I'm sitting here in an apartment in a room in Bangalore and people will just come because I have written somewhere that I'm a fitness coach? It doesn't happen. I have to go out and keep harping on the activities very consistently, because I have done that mistake of stopping in between,
ah,
and it really made me go back till I again started with some support and coaching and
and people will only notice you when you're up there, because they've not seen your entire journey and think, yaar, kitna acha koi, kitna cool hai. I wish I had 400,000 followers.
yeah.
I wish I was making so much money, and so on and so forth. But cool. Let's get to the next thing. Let's get to your ICN journey, right? And I believe you're prepping again this year for the next one. So let's get into that and understand how are you keeping that journey, and maintaining, and your coaching, and what does it take to like prepare for an ICN?
Well, to give you a history of the previous one, and this is one another reason which will answer to the previous question that you had said, that why I was coaching women, is that we don't realize our potential. So my first ICN also was not that I dreamt of or I wanted. I was fit. And I was like, okay, let's just like keep doing it. But it was my coach who said, you have so much of discipline, determination. Why don't you try this? And I remember I was also in a whim and I said, yes, okay, okay, let's do it. Let's compete. Also, as an Indian woman, and that's another reason, I want to, like, I love telling people or women to come out of their cocoon and take that plunge. I was, when I started prepping, and then I had to understand that I have to go on that stage, stand in a bikini or in a sports outfit. That's when it hit me that, okay, this is now out of the room, out of the gym. It's going to be all over. So that is also another mental barrier. So that's one part. That was a huge mental barrier that I had to break. I remember practicing in bikini in front of my friends. I was like, you guys come. Like, I have to break it somewhere. So,
Yeah.
so all of that happened. That's one part. Now, preparation, of course, in an ICN or any natural bodybuilding competition, your preparation really goes to the next levels. Discipline is really next level. So it's not that you start a fitness journey and just hop on to an ICN or a bodybuilding stage.
Yeah.
First, build those habits, because you will have to be normal, or have to take it very normally, that okay, this is how I'm going to eat, this is how I'm going to train without fail. There are so many days I felt, even in the first time, now also, I don't have time today, I don't want to go, but there's no excuse for this, there's no excuse. But for general fitness, it's okay, you can do little bit of here and there, and it's absolutely fine. But here, first, I would say that a person really needs to have that expectation setting. The mindset needs to be robust, because you can't miss your routine. I mean, of course, unless something really external happens and you are sick, that's
Of
something
course.
else.
Of
You
course.
have to take a pause back. So that's how the first one happened. And I think there were a lot of things I did not know. I went with the flow. I think I was not very stressed the first time, except for the fact that I had to wear a bikini and stand. But once you just go on the stage, you're like, okay, now I have to give my best, I have to celebrate. That was my first time. My learning from there was, that I have to make it better and bigger next time, because when women start training from the age of 30, the muscle maturity is not there. So I felt that I'll not go so small, so let me take some time. Why not work on building my business? Because we can't do it all, everything at the same time. Just made small milestones. I was working on my coaching business, learning to grow it for almost 2 years, and then I was like, okay, I think I have found a regime around it. So when you're talking about how I'm managing now, it was important to find a regime with my fitness routine which can't be compromised the for the competition this year, and also a regime for work which can't be compromised, because still, if I don't put in the daily efforts, things will keep slipping. So, the years of experience of both has helped me accept this, that okay, none of them can be compromised, but it is definitely possible with a proper time management. Once you accept it, I know that okay, my 2 hours will go into training. Now everybody will, start thinking, oh my god, she trains for 2 hours. No, when I said 2 hours, I mean, I'm including everything from getting ready to going there to finishing the regime to cool down. And so that means 2 hours includes everything around my training. Okay. 1 hour of the meal prep. So generally I do a prep for 2 to 3 days. It helps me
Right.
because of family also. So there's another kind of prep that goes there. So it's
Yeah.
wiser for me to plan there. So planning and prep becomes really crucial. And I know that, okay, in my entire day. So for me, for example, my training fits the best in the afternoon. So I know 2 to 4, I'm mostly shut, unless some very important meeting or training comes in, then I'll just probably adjust for that day. But I know in the entire time, 2 hours is for my training, an hour for my nutrition plan or whatever, and
Right.
then I have the rest of the day. So even in my calendar, I have things open like that, that okay, this is the duration where I'm going to do networking, I'm going to do conversation, I'm going to take these calls, I'm going to do plan updates. So unless you schedule it, it doesn't happen. And yes, let me admit, I was horrible at it. I had no, first of all, no relatability. I think all these 2 3 years have taught me, when I kept failing at each time, that God, either I'm able to do conversations, or I'm able to update somebody's plan, or then I suddenly realized that, oh, I did not update that person's plans. Having trackers, maintaining things, setting reminders,
I think
really,
after
really
all
important.
these years, we realized that that Subodh from Dil Chahta Hai was actually right.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
everything is as per a calendar. If you actually live by that, it you can actually do a lot more in life if
Yeah.
you just plan better, right? So I'm also guilty. Like right now, I'm on 22,000 steps, and which takes over 2 hours of walking slash running a day. So that's two
Yeah.
hours, just that cardio work, right? I mean, 22,000 steps, like what, 16, 17, 18 kilometers approximately. Add to that my training, which is 6 days a week, because I'm also now training. I'm on my last, maybe hopefully 6 to 8 weeks of my shred too. Not the
Okay.
ICN. I want to get to ICN level. I'm definitely not competing, but I want to get ICN level. So I'm working with my coach on that, right? But it takes 3.5 hours of all of that work. And I don't
Yes.
do, and this is not meal prep. This is not this thing. My gym's literally downstairs in my buildings. It's all chill. But that's logged onto my calendar.
Yes.
Then my calls for the day are locked in. My outreach calls for various other work, whether it's Alpha Coach Elite or for whatever work, is locked in. Anything and everything, including next week planning, is locked in for a Sunday evening, just because the idea is, if you block stuff on a calendar, then you know that there is a lot of free time. All the white spaces are actually times that you can have fun without feeling guilty,
Yeah.
knowing very well that you have blocked stuff for all the important things.
Yes.
And then you're at peace, because you're not wondering whether you've forgotten anything. Oh, wo client ka reh gaya hai. Oh, this thing I was supposed to do for the week, and that's left out. If you simply just block all the big rocks on your calendar, the
Absolutely.
rest, your mind can actually be freer. People think that, oh my God, this guy's living by calendar. Oh my God, his life is so way too overscheduled, versus, having a chilled life where you just do things when you want to. But that's the most
Absolutely.
brilliant way to manage your day.
And actually, that gives me time to unwind. It's not that when I say, doing it out of a calendar, I see I actually have time to unwind, instead of
Guilt free,
how we
that too.
used to be very haphazard. And suddenly at 8 p.m., I would say, oh, I have to do this job and I'm not there. And there are friends over, or like, so I think it's more structured. And why I'm harping on the fact again and again that it was not like this and I've failed multiple times. I did not know myself that I have to do it. I have had coaches, be it for fitness or for my fitness coaching business. So I knew that, okay, there's a voice who's telling me and guiding me. I better take it seriously, because it's a one time and one phase activity. And some days still it really goes like, oh, I want to quit. I want to quit. Then I'm like, will I be able to live that way?
Yeah, I think if I would think the most, generally, people who do well in life just do what it takes.
True.
You have to do it. You get it done.
Yeah.
If you start to create excuses that why you should not be doing this, and finding an excuse or a shortcut or a why media to something, you already know you're giving up, right?
Yeah.
So if you know that you need to train this hard, well, just go ahead and do it. If you don't need to do, you to block something on a calendar, do it, right? I think perfect. So now I think it's a good time to check up on and ask you about what are you doing on this other unfiltered prep podcast or series that you're doing, right? Like, what sort of inspired this initiative? Who is this other person that you partnered with to convey this message? What message are you trying to convey, right? And like, what have you done so far? How has it been received? What is the kind of impact you're hoping that makes on the audience? And what do you think it's already had?
Right. Yes. So we've started really small. The Unfiltered Prep is, as of now, just one account on Instagram. And I am doing it with my partner, Sheena. So, before I tell you exactly what it is, I think I would want to bring this point in, that if you're really hungry for something, sometimes that's how manifestations happened. Okay. When I did my first ice in bodybuilding, I always used to think, there are a lot of struggles I went through, a lot of things that I was figuring out. I had a coach, and all of that was there, but lot of things go around when you are prepping up for that stage. Okay. And even in your entire house, people know that okay, she's to go for the stage. So everything is around that, at least for the last few weeks. And there were so many challenges that I went through. And this, I'm talking about my first experience in 2022. Okay, when I hopped off, I thought that there's so much probably I should do, put things together. But at that point of time, I was new, I was still learning, and I was like, how I did not have the courage to do all of that alone. But it was there somewhere in the hindsight, ki, okay, maybe I go on the stage again and I collate the learnings better. And in the process, and I was just saying, how you manifest. Sheena was very, curious about my win, and she had pinged me. And we happened to go for a workout. And then she had no plans to go on the stage, and somehow I told her something and she was convinced. I just told her that, you are also a very disciplined and all, your physique is shaping up. Why don't you give it a try? And cut to 1 year, she said that I'm going to go to the stage, and she won gold. A person
Oh,
again
wow.
who did not have any intention, she won gold.
How
And again,
cool.
I
So,
find it
sorry, was this in the same one that you won silver and that in
yes.
the same one? Oh, wow.
Same.
Okay.
So
How
I
cool.
was in 2022 sports model silver,
Mm-hmm.
and she was in 24. Yeah, this
Oh,
December.
it was. I was wondering whether it was same year together on the same stage. Okay, so there were
No,
separate years that you.
separate
Okay,
years. Yeah. So
understood.
once I hopped off from the stage, she had reached out to me looking at my win, and she said that this is so
Very
nice. Let's
nice.
work out together that
And
way.
did you prep her to? No, you don't.
No.
You don't do stage prep, right? You got it. Okay.
Not yet.
Go on.
So
Yeah.
I was just like, and I was just saying that, I enjoy conditioning people that don't quit. This is there in you. Let's do it. And I said some words, and she got convinced. She went and she won. Now, when she hopped off the stage, after a month, she says, Sudeeksha, we went through a lot of struggle. And I felt that this girl is saying exactly what I was thinking 2 years back. She said, there are so many women, they have so many struggles. And exactly, we started talking what the vision of Unfiltered Prep we have now is, that there are so many women struggling because they don't even understand what natural bodybuilding is. In fact, there's also a talk going around that it's an abnormal eating, versus it is not abnormal when you do healthy eating in the right way, except towards the last shred season. Of course, I mean, that's for a sport. For any sport, you will get specific, be it cricket, soccer, or anything. So there are different requirements. So the requirement for this sport is that it's driven by your training and your meals, and towards
Nutrition.
the
Yeah.
end, the eating goes really low, and it is very calculated, strategy based for different people. So we wanted to break that myth and give that courage and knowledge to more women, because we see that in natural bodybuilding competition, a few years back, out of the entire participant, only 2 to 3% were girls, which is gradually increasing to about a 10%. But still, there's a lot of inhibition, lack of knowledge, fear, and if both are taken care of, the people, women think that how will it all happen?
Yeah.
What are the finances? How much it takes? How much preparation should do? So there is, we wanted to create something where we can start putting all this information in one place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we are working on it together through our own struggles, every place where we got stuck. So it's not, we call it a movement, because it's not just, to encourage women just by saying some, very fluffy words and all that. Not just with that, but encourage them, giving them the right, what's wrong, or what's needed, what's not needed, to be more precise, and what it
Nice.
takes to come up on the stage. So we've
Yeah,
started.
and you both have
Yeah.
incredible authority doing that, right? See, I think what could be as just something that you're creating a media channel
Yeah.
for women who either have never considered stage or considered but don't know what it's about. So you're telling them, okay, this is what stage prep really looks like. This is why it's good for women.
Yeah.
This is why you should probably try it out. These are the probable myths, fears, doubts, apprehensions that most women have. These are the fixes or myth breakers that are there out there. And eventually, this is how you solve it, and then you take them, and clarify. So it's not just education, but you're actually creating a moment. Eventually, great business idea also, right? You could start your own stage spread for, which is there. So I think I don't know if it's something you already thought of, but I think if you build a large enough following of people who really care about what message you're trying to give out to them, and that's genuine, that's actually helpful to them, then of course I think there'll be a lot of women lining up to say guys, you guys have already been up there. You've walked the talk. You're not just giving gyan out, but you actually walked it. You've been through this. These are the exact problems we facing and you faced, and therefore, why don't we all work together? Great, 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 great.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. I just have one question for you about the program you did with us, right? It's called Alpha Coach Elite. What were your thoughts? Like, what maybe prompted you to join? What did you get out of it? You worked with Vishnu on this largely, and you were very committed. You did all the things. You've seen a lot of good success. You've come and spoken on our masterclass webinars as well. So, want to check out what is your honest feedback on the entire program?
I would say, first of all, to summarize it in one line, it changed me as a person, as a fitness coach. See, there's a lot of coaching out there. Well, the first reason why I connected, and I think I had a call with you, was that relatability that, okay, this person is also from a corporate background and talking fitness. I was, again, that hunger. That hunger makes me find people, I think so. And that conversation that we had made me feel that, okay, there'll be some connects where I can specifically clarify my burning challenges, and there'll be group calls as well. And when I joined in, I was like, let's take the plunge, because anyway I'm stuck at a point, so let's take the plunge.
Right.
When I joined, what I realized is I was stuck because of those few mindset changes as well. Processes, yes, definitely. Mindset changes, as in few things that I have told today, is an outcome of Alpha Coach training, is how you gradually let that audience build, how you consistently do those activities, how you track them on a tracker, be it your finances, be it your goals, how to do that target sheet, which you explained. Like, you took one full call inside the program, is that unless you have that goal, you can't reverse engineer and find out that, from where you need to start, what's your starting point. So
Yeah.
all of that, like the personal break even, that concept and all that helped me relate. So first of all, I had a structure that, okay, this is the path that I need to go into. Then second started with an activity sheet, and I was like, okay, what activity sheet? But that, when I started filling in, I realized that, okay, I think this is made on the psyche of a fitness coach or a personal trainer who goes through. Because when you spend time in filling it in, it's very important to understand what kind of a person you are, who you want to coach. And that's what helped me arrive at the fact that I want to coach working women, versus I was coaching all busy professionals before that. And that's why I was not kind of, getting people, but not being able to hold them accountable or drive them to the right way. It is not that, they are bad or I am bad, but things have to be aligned in the kind of people we are also. So that niche breakdown call that happened, like, it went for like almost an hour. Then bringing and brainstorming around a content sheet,
Yeah.
how you can further make it better, how to go on calls. And all these are one-on-one calls, like with Vishnu sir, whatever calls I have had, it's been, I'm telling you, that has changed me as a person, as a fitness coach. That
Oh,
you
cool.
don't need to, like I was just saying, you don't need to like sell go that, oh, I have launched this. First, do the work. See how your product is working. Take feedback. It does two things. It helps you to make things better, refine it, and when you refine it, again, you can reach back to the same network saying that, hey, it's gotten better. So if you think you are somebody who needs it, or there's people, so learning all this in a very structured way, the weekly one-on-one calls only after you have completed, a part of the assignment, that really holds you accountable. You just can't just book a one-on-one call and then have a chit chat. It's not time pass. So that building that discipline in yourself also, I think, making calendars and all, that made me understand. So that way, it has really helped me, because when I worked on those areas on myself, automatically the way people have started coming in has changed. So it's like a direct translation of actions to outcome.
I think the most, like what you said about having to choose a niche, building out numbers, building out an activity tracker, are I think all point parts that most businesses do in general, right? First, a business has to decide what is the product they're selling, right? And then they say, okay, now this is the audience whom I'm going to sell it to, and then they finally go about selling it. These are just the most natural things that any regular business will do. But fitness coaching, unfortunately, we've seen so many people. Like you said, you were also sort of guilty of saying, I'm going to train all working professionals. But most trainers will go out and say, okay, any one client who comes to me, and even in our booking form, we actually have this thing like, who do you coach? And they're like, what do you help with? Oh, weight loss, strength gain, everybody from kids to elderly. I do women, when PCOS. They'll add all the trending terms that are there. And then it actually just tells us a lot about how clueless a lot of people are, unfortunately, that they just don't know what they're trying to sell. And if you don't know what you're trying to sell, then everything is going to go wrong, because they think that, and they need to put content about everything, right? Oh, let me do stuff on strength, let me do some stuff on weight loss. Suddenly they'll say, oh, chia seeds is something a lot of people are talking about. Here are the 5 benefits of chia seeds. This is lemon water benefits of having whatever. And there'll be some random things that they start doing, right? Then they'll start talking to people and saying, ha, I'm a fitness trainer. Then their social media will be, they'll have listed out all their 17 certifications, but don't tell people what they do or for whom, etc. Right? So I think niche selection, then marketing, then selling is, I think, the most, I would say, most bang for the buck kind of thing that most people don't realize that what they should be doing. Because I actually explain this to people with this analogy, right? On the calls that we sort of do now. I'm like, think of yourself as, say, an aspiring singer. First, you need to decide what kind of songs you're going to sing. Are you going to sing Bollywood songs? Are you going to be a Hindustani classical? Are you going to be Carnatic music? Are you going to be English Western classical, whatever? First to decide. Then once you do that, you practice and perfect that in on your own, which is literally the product building, right? What are your certifications? What kind of clients have you trained so far? You do maybe a few free ones. Then you say, I'm going to sing it in front, like how you did with your bikini, with in front of your friends, and I'm going to practice it with a few people I know, like, and trust. Get constructive criticism, real feedback, right, from people. So you might sing in front of a small crowd, maybe a building function, maybe a building function, maybe something else, right? A smaller this thing. And then you say, I'm going to organize a larger, Now, if you get the first thing wrong, which is you cannot sing for nuts, you just don't know how to sing, then if you don't do the first level, which is singing in front of people who already know you, but say, you know what, I'm going to run ads and going to start running it, or I'm going to do the larger concert, then more people are going to hate you for it, right? Because they're going to be, what a bad singer. Like, why is this person even singing this? So I keep telling people that, running ads, doing all the inorganic stuff that most people assume that that's marketing, boosting posts or whatever, is like giving yourself a mic when you haven't even prepared a song or prepared a speech or even trained your voice, right? So first, ignore the mic, talk to people who are closest to you or sing in front of them. Let them decide that, is this a great product that I should take out to more people? And then start doing that, right? So but even before all of this is deciding what song to sing, what speech to give. Are you even knowledgeable on the topic? Are you even somebody who has any authority on that subject? Because I know a lot of people who will be like you said, working women, certain age group, beginners, your own story, how did you get into it? There's authority, you're of the same gender, you've been there, done that. Right now, you're talking unfiltered prep. You've been there, done that. So there's some level of experience, authority that you built. Versus saying, you know what, I'm going to help men stage prep, or may men get who are, say, 60 plus to get into the best shape of their lives at that age. You have no experience. You probably have never lived that life. Obviously, you've not lived that life, and therefore you've not got any certifications around that. So what makes you somebody that people will trust to help them if you've not done it? Maybe, right? So yeah. So that's, I think, this thing. So good. Thank you so much for that. I think kind words from your side.
But one more thing, this is very important. I just forgot, but I have to add this. The pace of progress. There was no, there's a lot of people, a lot of places, they are saying you can make 3 lakhs in 10 weeks. You can make, so no, so a realistic expectation setting. I'm not saying that's wrong, but realistic expectation setting with what you can do. And being into fitness coaching, understanding the fact that whether I'm a bodybuilder or not, and I can't just quit my regime or whatever, but I will need to have a regime, that was made an important part, that keeping that intact without disturbing how you can sustainably build that. So because before that, I remember I was very much in this stress that I have to do this, do this, do this, which is not completely probably wrong thing for many people, but for a fitness coach who wants to practice what she professes and lead by an example, because if I am not fit, how do I talk? I like to post my fitness condition at whichever stage. So that expectation setting was also very realistic, which was done through all the calls and one-on-one or group calls
So
constantly. It
I
was,
think
yeah.
most people discount, after the problem is like you said, like there are lots of ads which promise you seven figures in a month, eight figures in a year, and whatnot, right? There are all of these. There are a lot of people who do that. It's not wrong to have big goals. The
Absolutely.
only thing is most people aren't don't have what it takes to achieve the first level, which is getting to a lakh a month, one and a
Yeah.
half lakh a month. At the even there, right? So if you suddenly thinking that you're making 30,000 rupees a month and then you're expecting to make 10 lakhs a month, not going to happen, right? It's like, it's just why, right? And this is literally happened many times why lottery winners generally end up squandering all of their lottery winnings within a few months or years because they never learned how to manage even their own little money. Then imagine coming into $1 million and obviously losing it because they don't have the maturity or the financial acumen to manage that. So it's just like doing a crash diet and then gaining it all back, right? So similarly, it's learning the right skills to make the first 1 lakh, and they don't realize how much of a difference an extra lakh can make in your life, right? An extra lakh can be a vacation, paying off more EMIs, buying a new phone, buying a bike. There's so many things that you could do with 12 extra lakhs a year, which most people don't. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's expectation setting. It helps us also because then it doesn't let our students or coaches go back thinking, oh, I didn't make so much money, right? And we tell them also right up front that you need to put in enough work. This is no magic
Absolutely.
pill. You
That goes
have to
also.
do it. We're not just going to, push down leads to you. You have to put in the work. This works. If you build this sustainably, just like you will help coaches or clients with their health, then it will stick with you. So now let's talk about something which is outside of business, outside of training, outside of marketing, and all the technical stuff, right? Like outside of all of this and your own training, what keeps you sane? Like what activities do you do to just maintain your lifestyle? Just managing life along with that. You're married, multiple things, right? So what all do you do to just keep your life worth living? Let's say.
The way my life has transitioned, earlier fitness was a hobby, now it's become a mainstream. So there were other things that I used to do in the past. I love music, so I like to listen. I want to someday pick up learning instruments, okay, more than singing. I used to sing, but it's like totally something that I'm not interested, but I love to probably pick up learning guitar. So but then
Oh well.
that's still going to happen. But as of now, if I have to say, so yes, me and my husband, we love to travel. So when we don't have a very long time, we really love to drive down. So we go for long drives around the city. We have friends, we love to go for bowling. Bowling
Hmm.
is something that I really enjoy, but yeah, I'm still getting better at it. But that's a very fun time that we have together with friends out here. Yeah, I mean, at least once in a quarter, we go for travel. We love mountains. So it would be something around that to unwind and everything. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. And like now you and just sort of final thoughts, right? I mean, you've now transitioned from a corporate career, getting a scare yourself. That was your trigger. You moved out, went into coaching, and became a fitness coach. What would be your advice to somebody who's sort of hesitating or hesitant about starting their own fitness coaching business? How do they transition? What are the steps that you think are the most logical, solid, and the right steps if they want to sort of make that shift too?
See, I would really say no, that first a person should really gauge whether they would really love to do it or not. Because why I'm saying this, that, you know, the process, it does get shabby. It goes up and down, even monetarily. So you'll have to be, if you don't love something, you will really want to give up. If you have just without a proper thought, you just started doing it. So when I was telling you my story, it was not just that, many people will just know that hospital incident, what the doctor said, but it was always happening. So that I had like a deep love towards it, and I felt that I really felt good taking care of the health and fitness part of people. So that's a very, at a very high level that I want people to think that whether you really love to do it, and if you are somebody who's transitioning, do plan things out. Um, if you have responsibilities, how much of bandwidth you have to coach people. So maybe while being in your current profile, do it for free first. First, do it for free. See whether you can keep people steered, because health and fitness is like such a service based task where your services should be helping most of the people. See, there will be one or two people who might not align or who might not, but to understand that, you'll have to do a lot of work while being in your current profile, so that you really understand that, okay, you can bring in that change or not, it's something that you are liking it or not, how many
Right.
people are actually changing. Take a feedback then, and then take maybe the plunge, because it calls you to plan out a lot of things, the finances, the time that you can invest, your personal liking. Because and especially if people moving out of corporate, maybe not only corporate but from a job field, you have to
Right.
understand that you come out in this industry, and there is not going to be a promotion or a spot award or an appraisal. So you will have to pat your own back at some of the achievements. You have to be kind to yourself as well,
Mm.
and be okay when things are not going that great. So all these understanding is important to have, and then only take that step. And also one thing I would say, that don't try to do it all by yourself. Take guidance. Don't waste your time. If possible, take a proper coaching. It will be worth it, because why would you waste time when you have all that help right now?
Right, right. So I think you hit the nail on its head, right? I think people should really love fitness coaching, that they can convert that into something that's seriously their career. Because if they're just in it to say, oh, everybody's becoming a fitness coach, I think the opportunity acha hai, we can make money in it. Let me quit this boring 9 to 5 job. Let me do this. The reality of the industry will hit you very, very hard, which is going to hit you regardless. But if you don't love it enough, you're going to quit on it very
You
quickly.
won't stick to it.
You won't stick under it, right? Then obviously figure out finances, because you're not going to get a steady income month over month, regardless of performance, regardless of how the market is, what people think. You have to learn how to sell yourself. You need to understand all those skill sets for sure. And then finally, you need to do a few free coachings to even realize that are you a great fitness enthusiast yourself, or you can actually educate, train, mentor, coach other people who will listen to you. You can relate to them. You can find the bandwidth to be able to, or rather the wavelength to be able to get through to that person, and then actually be able to change their mindset and eventually their physicality, because that's what they're here for, their fitness change or transformation. And then decide that, okay, you know what, I think all these are a resounding yes, and then you say yes to that, because then you say, okay, I think I can really take the plunge of doing it, without just saying, oh, I think this is great, let me try it and jump, and then realize this is not for me at all.
Yeah. Because how a lot of people see it is just those the aesthetic outcome, thinking that it's very glamorous. Yeah, of course there is a glamour part to it. Once you become fit, you can do a photo shoot, you can go for an amazing uh, a vacation where you can wear anything, undoubtedly. But the process when you're going through, it's health, so there will be health
Yeah.
concerns. And today as a fitness coach, if there are 100 problems running at my home or in my anything around me, if my problem is here, I'll have to keep it here and take that call for my mentee. I can't
Yeah.
let him or her lose, so I'll have to keep my mentee or my trainee as priority, no matter how many problems I have. So for that, you need to love it, and
This
you
is
have
the
to
I
forget
think
that there's going to somebody who's going
this
to give you a promotion
this
and
is
a.
a yeah, yeah, yeah. This is another big insight, right? That comes out across all the other coaches also who are guests on the podcast. You as a coach are not the hero in the story,
Yeah.
right? You are the guide, you're the mentor, you are the Yoda to the Luke, you
Yes.
are the Apollo Creed to Rocky Balboa, right?
Absolutely.
The hero is going through the problem. They need help. You came in to save the day. You helped them to get there. And you are Mr. Miyagi and not the Karate Kid. And you helped make the Karate Kid win the championship, right? So effectively, that if people understand and are able to digest that, if they are not the hero of the story, then it becomes a little less glamorous, but a little bit truer to reality. And then they can actually do their job well, because when they do their job well, their clients see better results. Their clients see their transformations, then their business actually grows. Versus them, a lot of coaches who make it about themselves and then they don't focus on the clients as much, or they're not able to give it that kind of a modest approach to their clients versus saying, this is what I'm saying to you, get it done. But rather than working with them, and then of course eventually your business will suffer, right? Because it's not getting your clients the results they deserve. But
Yeah.
perfect. Great. Any parting thoughts, Sudeeksha? Anything to women who want to get into fitness, coaches or people who want to become coaches? One thing that you'd like to say?
I'd just like to tell women who want to get into fitness, it is possible. And the possibility lies in you yourself, because there are 100 things that you are doing probably which were not doing 5 years, 10 years back. And let's take, I think, the biggest and the most underrated job, motherhood. If you can do that, or if, say, okay, you're not a mother, you've just got a career and you've moved to cities, you've backed a big project, or if you can do that, if you can fight those battles, then you can definitely fight this battle of squeezing in health and fitness as well. It is not abnormal, because I've been on that side of the table and this side of the table as well. Like, I had really unhealthy habits. I know how much productive I have become now. There was like 12, 14 hours I had to put there also, and I knew how much leaves or fatigue I used to experience, versus now. 12 hours of work, if I have to do, I don't get tired, because that's how the body transforms. Just the two things that we get stuck, that, oh, it's not for me, I can't. But women, way stronger than they even think. They can, they, if they really put their mind. To all people out there, it's not that I have any bias for women. Fitness is for everyone. You could be a very busy man of the house taking care of a lot of things that are unspoken. Make it priority. Take a very small step and just focus on building strength. The unnecessary really gets lost in the process. Take guidance. It's really okay. I think the bravest people are people who shout out for help, because you're not wasting
Yeah,
your time. You asked for help and you just treaded on the right path. So that's the only two things that I would say to women, and
fantastic.
definitely to all people out there.
Yeah, I think taking help is I think the greatest cheat code, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I think. I think coaches, mentors, cheat code to life. I mean, if they already know what you're going to face before you face it, and they help you adjust. I mean, whether it's losing weight, whether it's navigating business, whatever it is, right? There's a person who's already been there, who's already done that. There are hundreds of them who've navigated and built before you. They may be either older in age, or they just tried it before you did,
Yeah.
right? uh, and they've seen that path, and they know that, yeah, typically this is what's going to happen. If you just learn from them, you're not wasting time. You're not setting yourself up for despair when you hit a wall and you say, oh my god, what do I do now? And because the coach will say, oh, this is normal, okay, then I'm not going to feel so bad. You just have to turn right and take a left from there and you're fine.
Yes.
Oh, okay, everybody goes through this, right?
Yes.
And so I think it's just, I think generally fitness, I think, is the one place where most people try stuff on their own. There's a lot of free information now with AI. They're building
Yeah.
plans for themselves, all good. But I think if you really want to see serious progress, working with a human expert, established, experienced coach just makes way so much difference. And honestly, like, this is one thing I tell people: if Sachin Tendulkar had a coach, if Arnold Schwarzenegger had a coach, if Bruce Willis as an actor had an acting coach, why do we feel we don't need a coach?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the greats have coaches, and that's literally what drives them to success. Perfect. Thank you so much, Sudeeksha. This was like seriously wonderful. Especially given that you're also part of the Alpha Coach Elite program, and just you're the first guest from that particular cohort. So thank you so much again for doing this, and I truly wish you well.
Thanks to you, Ketan. Thanks to you all, because this is going to stay etched for me as well. Like, my first podcast and from one of the first students. So it's really
Very cool.
special and an honor to be here, that I could share. And I hope I've been able to share uh, in the best possible way. So thank you so much to you all.
I think it's been a fantastic one. Just one quick thing before we end the podcast. How can people get in touch with you? What's your Instagram handle? Is there a WhatsApp number? Is there an email? How do they get in touch with you?
Yes. So people can email me. It's at Jumpstart with Sudhi, the name that shows jumpstartwithsudhi@gmail.com. And my website also is with the same name. So if you can just reach out anywhere, it will lead you to my WhatsApp query and everywhere. So the website is jumpstartwithsudhi.com, and that's how they can get in touch.
Perfect. And your Instagram, Sudeeksha Mukherjee, they can search you and DM you
All
there
of
as
it
well.
is Jumpstart with Sudhi.
Everything is Jumpstart. Perfect, perfect. Excellent. Thank you so much and all the very best.
Thank
Cheers.
you.